Am I audible? Okay, I can hear. Uh, do we have someone from first year? Okay, first year is almost. Sure, I get it. I don't think there must be any fourth year in this group. So, see, today's talk is more in line with what exactly you need to do and how exactly you should be uh, like you should be using your time from the starting of very first year. If you are in second year or third year, it does apply to you as well if you have not done anything or anything similar which I am going to cover today and what exactly you guys need to do. So okay, so the very first thing is you know uh, for those of you guys who did not join yesterday's session, I'm Mohammad Faizan. I did pass from information technology branch like SOE in 2019 from IT department, and I did join Amazon just like after I graduated from college. So yes, that is pretty much about me, and I'll get started now. So mainly the guys who have not yet done anything or who are in second year or first year who are seeking for what exactly you need to do. See, the very first thing is that once you have once you have opted out for computer science or information technology, ideally when you start, you should start with basics of programming. When I say basics of programming, what I basically mean is that you do have it in your course as well. Like for the first year, it's C. For possibly second year, it's a C++ with object-oriented programming with C++. So for first year mainly, you guys should be starting once you have started in college. It does not matter which it does not matter if you are trying to you know be in computer science, and if you have plans to do so after you graduate from college, and which I highly recommend, because like just because since you have choose selected this branch in the college for your undergraduate studies, you guys should be studying this for whole of your college. So when you start out by learning basic things, which includes uh, learning basics of programming such as functions, pointers, variable naming, and all, like whatever you learn as a basic stuff in C or whatever language you know. Once you have done so, and once you have a bit of grasp of this subject, which I highly recommend you get it through solving more and more practice problems. Once you have done so, then you start out by you know solving some developing some actual problem solving skill. So ideally you should be devoting your time the whole first year or the whole second year. You should ideally be devoting that time till you know till third semester or fourth semester completely to problem solving. Now, when I say problem solving, what I actually mean is that as a computer science or as a computer science graduate, I would say I would not even mention IT because that is like pretty much the same thing. As a computer science graduate, you are supposed to have problem solving skill. When I say problem solving skill, that actually means that given some problem or given once you have solved some problem, you should like first of all you should be able to solve some real life problem via using computer science concepts. And second is that you do have good implementation skill. When I say implementation skill, once you have got that idea, you must be able to feed that idea via code to computer. And that is the most important skill, I would say, for you to get placed in any of the like any of the top-notch organization. That's the very first criteria, that you should be good with problem solving. Now a lot of people have doubt in general, like how much of problem solving is actually needed in order for them to get into a good organization, wherein like just cracking the interviews of some of the good companies. So to answer that, for first year, the answer may depend on actually how much time do you have left in a college. For first year, it's the whole 4 year which is lying in front of them. Ideally, they should be a little bit into competitive programming, which is basically participating in contests being held on Code Forces, Code Chef. I won't recommend Code Chef now, but Code Forces for sure, on Hacker Earth, Hacker Rank, like these kind of platform. These are the places where you can get started with problem solving. Now a lot of people have doubt, like how actually I should be approaching it. Should I be should I be learning all the data structures and algorithm concept and then jump to this? That is not an ideal way to approach anything in an ideal world. The uh, the reason why I'm saying is that there will never be the case that you know each and everything, and then you start doing that thing. For competitive programming or for problem solving, I would recommend that you guys go through, like, start from hacker rank, get some good implementation skills, solve many problems just to just to be just to get you through that barrier of you not knowing the implementation actually, and then develop that problem solving skill. Now when I in computer science, when you develop, or you can develop this skill of problem solving by solving a lot of algorithmic and algorithmic problems basically. And yes, like that is the basic thing that you should at least gain. Now this is something that you should be gaining by your third semester or end of fourth semester. Once you have acquired this knowledge, specifically problem solving knowledge, you should ideally, in that case, like after that, you should ideally be looking on to some good projects, learning some good projects obviously helps there, or doing some good projects obviously helps there, and learning your core subjects in a really nice manner, as in a manner wherein you are implementing things, you are doing some projects based on those, you are solving problems which are related to your core subjects, which is basically like object oriented programming. So for me, it was like, I really studied object oriented programming well, and the and the way I did it was that I took one book, like it was Robert Lafford, C++ object oriented programming, and I just went through the nearly half of book, also solving the problems just which are just after the uh, after when the chapter ends, and solving all of those exercises. So that is one thing, and yes, that is pretty much it on how you should be spending your third year. Like for first 2 years, just focus more on implementation and developing problem solving skill. On in second year and third year, do get a grasp of your core subjects. For fourth year, uh, along with some good projects in your second year and third year, it may depend, like it may be web or android based on your based on your inclination or based on your interest obviously. Now for the fourth year, do some advanced subjects such as machine learning, artificial intelligence, and all. I would highly recommend for the guys who are in first year now, don't go after these buzzwords for now, which is like straight away jumping to machine learning and all. First of all, do get your concepts clear, do get your basics clear, which is your core subjects, implementation skill, as well as problem solving skill. To get this sorted out, then only jump to this advanced field. This is something which I will recommend for most of you. My uh, uh, the reason being, if you don't know problem solving, you will do no good to field of machine learning, I guess, because in there also you'll be solving some a real life problem itself, and you should be getting that, or you should be knowing how to solve problem. Now, to get started on implementation skill, for first year, my suggestion always had been, and I do recommend it now as well. If you have never done any programming, just go through. Let us see. Read chapter by chapter, solve the problems which are given at the end of each chapter. Once you have done so, and it might not take, like, it must not take more than 2 to 3 months to complete the whole book. Once you are past that book, then do start solving more and more problems on hacker rank, just to get more confidence on implementation skill. Once you have done so for the whole semester, as in learning C and doing some hacker rank problems, easy problems, just to get you confidence, or just to boost your confidence on implementation level, then jump straight away, learn C++ STL, learn C++ STL, and then start problem solving. Now, a lot of, like those of those of you who don't know what C++ STL is and how to get started with hacker rank, you guys better get into touch with your seniors, as in from fourth year. I know some. I am not sure, who are I'm not sure about the guys who are in third year and second year doing the very same thing. But there are a lot of guys in your fourth year for sure, which will help you out on that part, like how exactly to get started and to get your basic doubts cleared. That is something you can sort out from there. So yeah, any doubt till here? Like anything on the path which I just described? First year rights, I'm expecting you guys to have some doubts. Guys, anyone? After C, which language one choose, Python or C++? So this is the very, I'm glad that you asked this question. This is a very, you know, a lot of times we do get this question, and the answer to that is it. I highly recommend doing problem solving via C++, and not Python. The reason being, C++ is a lot closer to machine language than Python is. Python is not statically typed, and it takes, like, runtime is huge. The reason being, it has to infer everything, because in C++ you do explicitly tell, right, like if there is a variable, what type it is and what type it should be expecting. But that is not the case with Python. In Python, you just name a variable and then start working with it. You may assign it an integer or a string, it doesn't really matter. So to get a gist of how machine, the closer you are with machine language, the better idea you will get, out of how the machine works, and more in general what computer science is and how coding languages do work. So I will highly recommend going for C++, for problem solving for sure after C. So you don't need to be much language specific as well. Once you have done C, pretty much for loop is same in every other language, whether it be Python or whether it be Java. The concept is very same. It's just the syntax which keeps on changing. So learn C. but for problem solving do use C++, because there are standard library which is C++, which you'll be using while doing problem solving. And the way that helps you is that you will not be needed to write a sorting algorithm, though you should know how what is merge sort, quick sort, and every other sort that you'll be learning in your algorithmic courses. But C++ gives you a function for that. So let's say there is an array and you want to sort it. You can get it. You can sort it just via making a call to sort function, and it gives you enough of functionality to help you achieve problem solving skill, but not as Python. Like Python has many things wherein you will not be writing your own logic. For example, filtering out elements from an array, or yes, filtering out some elements from an array is a classic example. In C or C++, you'll have to write an explicit code just for this purpose. But I'm sorry, can you guys see me? Yes. So in Python, in C or C++, you guys will have to explicitly write a snippet just for this cause. But that's not the case with Python, and that's what you lose on. Like basically, not developing those implementation skills. So that's a very basic example, but that applies homogeneously to this whole field or this whole question, whether like what language to choose after you have learned basics of C. So once you have learned C, have some idea of object-oriented programming and how to use STL. That will help you more than enough to get you started on, or to get you started on problem solving, basically. I want to get a career in front-end developer. Do I need to focus on data structure as I have somewhere they do not use them? Yes, you do still need to have grasp on data structures and algorithm if you are targeting or shooting for a high-end startup as well. Even for front end. So front end doesn't mean that you will not be applying your brain. Right? You will always be, and you will be required to apply brain, and there as well you will be solving some of the problems which are which you have been presented with. Like it may be as trivial as like you know designing something is designing is not uh, something where you don't need your brain, right? So problem solving will still be needed in there. For example, if you want to join Uber as a front end developer, you will need to have these problem data structures and algo thing. Now I will take this question at the end, why exactly that is needed, and is that the better criteria to judge someone in an interview on the basis of data structure and algorithm. That is something that I'll be taking at the end of this talk. But yes, Shamil, I guess that answer your questions, that you need to have that skill, because you will be solving problem whether you are studying physics, whether you are studying computer science, mathematics, doesn't matter at all. And you are only demanded in market to solve problems, solving real life business problems. So I'm just noting that question down for me, which I have to take at the end. Why is this used to evaluate? Sure. Any other question?
Hello.
Yes, Pascal.
So, mine is not a doubt. It's just a question. Sir, is there any other platform apart from Spot, Courses, Hacker, or HackerRank from where you solve problems?
Sorry, like I missed out on the last part.
Actually, I wanted to ask that is there any other platform apart from Cusat, Courses, HackerRank, and Spots where from where you solve problems?
I see. So, like once I hit fourth year, I was solving problem on interview bit and more like specific problems related to interviews. Once I had hit fourth year, but again, that was pretty much that was a cakewalk for me. The reason being, I had done a lot of problem solving while I was in my first or second or third year in general, and that helped me a lot. Like once I got in, once I so I'll tell you how exactly that helped me. I I was doing problem solving always. So once I got an acceptance, or when I cleared the very first round of Amazon, then I had nearly 10 to 12 days to prepare for interviews. Now, what I did, I went through their archive on Geeks for Geeks, and I was just skimming through the questions and not even looking into the solution. And I was just looking into the question, and there were hardly 4 to 5 questions which I found in my 10 days preparation that I explicitly did for Amazon interview, which I was not able to solve on the first go. Like when I saw the question, I do had to take some time, and when I had read the solution, in case I had to, it was it like I did not implemented it because I was pretty much confident on those things. So problem solving is always going to pay you off, and in the manners where you will be thankful to this specific skill which you gained in college. And that is something which I'm saying with 100% of surety. So I do have some I do know some guys who did join good companies once they, or good job with a good package once they passed out from college, uh, and is now when they are trying to switch their job to specifically software engineering, they are again needed to go through the same cycle. You cannot escape this. So you can think of the scenario wherein SD3 as well. SD3 are people who are really technical in their skill in software engineering. They also do go through this one round. So you cannot skip this in any way. Like that is something which I would highly recommend not skipping in your college. Now, Bhaskar, so to answer specifically your question, I just used to, Hacker Rank was my favorite when I did started out doing problem solving, but then I later switched on to Code Forces, doing some problem on Hacker Rank sometimes on Sponge. So yes, that is pretty much it about me or how I did.
Sir, I think switching platforms is not a good option for it because once you cover the easy part, easy section, you move on to the harder section first. So skipping those is not recommended, right?
Skipping those, I did not get you. Can you speak
What I'm
closer
saying is,
closer to
like
the mic?
there are more people who just change platforms once the problems are completed on that platform itself. Like some of the people are like they complete the easy part of one platform, then they move on to the another section. Like another they choose another platform, then they start solving again those easy parts and then again switch on to some other platform.
It will never help you. See,
Yes,
solving
yes.
easy problems, ultimately, see what you are doing is learning or trying to think on a daily basis. That is
Yes.
exactly what you are doing, right? So when you are doing so, what help an easy problem is going to see. Easy problem is challenge. If it's challenging for you, go ahead for it, but it is not going to be challenging for you once you have done like 10 to 20 or 30 easy problems, right? They are basically implementation problems. Here's the problem, just implement it. That's what they are. And until and unless you do hard problems, you will not get time, or you will not get opportunity to crunch your mind against a problem which needs to be solved. And hence, if you are not doing so, you are stopping your mind from growth basically, wherein you are not solving any more problems or puzzles. So just doing easy problem will do no good for sure. Like this is, I'm 100% sure on this one.
Thank you.
Sure. Building project is enough if we are getting, if we are not getting internship. What kind of project will be good? What kind of projects you have built? Okay, so there are three questions in this one. Uh, See, getting an internship obviously helps because the kind of work that you do when you are doing a project on your own is pretty much different from what goes into industry. So I will highly recommend if you do have or if you can secure an internship, do so. Yes, like do so over building your own projects. Second is what kind of project will be good. So the kind of project wherein you are using some framework, not building a wireframe PHP and MySQL thing, or just writing Java code for Android. That won't help. The my highly the the process which I would highly recommend is using some well-known frameworks such as Spring Boot or Spring or JUnit or Mockito or like these framework in order to build your projects. Writing unit test cases for your projects using some framework for your projects that really helps. Adding alarm, designing project before you go ahead with the implementation, that is as well important as designing the or coding the project itself. So yes, and what kind of projects I had built. So for in my fifth semester I did build an online judge which is similar platform to HackerRank, and it used to work as well. Like you know uh, there are problems, you submit your solution, it checks you on the time complexity and all, everything was there. For my last semester uh, we did build one project wherein we used concept of API, web services, API, machine learning, and all of those. It was basically an app which would have helped you, which would have basically helped hungry people find some food, and people who wanted to donate their food, they could have done so. So that is the kind of functionality which that app used to give. So yes, that is for me. I did these two projects, and there were good projects, I would say, because they helped me on. My interviewer really liked that, like those projects, whatever I did. So whatever you do, try to solve some real life problem when you are doing projects. Not writing a calculator, because see, writing a calculator just for learning things is okay, but that should not be your end project or a project which you want to really showcase. Pushing projects, like doing whatever small work you do and projects you do, pushing them on GitHub really helps. That shows how consistent you are with coding. Make a repo for your, like, a single repo for your competitive programming, another repo just for your projects. That really gives you more visibility in there. So yes, I guess that is it. Regarding projects. Any other question? Yes. I am freebird in programming. What does that freebird mean? Delete. Can you define that for me? Like, is it something? Uh, Let me do a Google search. I don't find anything there. Can you explain me what freebird is? First year. Okay. I was in programming. I just started with C. Can you suggest a better way to crack the language? Means how to complete the language in better way, including practice, implementation, etc. And when will I know I switch to another language? So for C, I told you a very straightforward thing. Just go through letter C on your own, solve each and every problem, Do so within a span of 2 to 3 months, at max 3 months or 2.5 months. Once you're done there, you're done. Move ahead. Okay, Dilip? Uh, if there are no other questions, then move ahead with another thing. Like you can ask some in general question as well if you want. Cool. If there are no questions, I'll try to uh, for the first year, right? I'm not sure how much of you guys are there or how many of you guys have actually tried problem solving. But sorry for that. But I'll take a problem and then try to get you through and give you a glimpse of what exactly is problem solving and what kind of skill it gives you, and why it is needed, obviously. So hmm, so I just need one volunteer from first year. Anyone who can volunteer for me? Guys, anyone who is willing to volunteer? Anyone? Okay. So, so this is the problem which you know, which I generally do take as an mock, like a problem in mock interview as well, wherein I verify people on how exactly they should be approaching problem. So, the problem is that uh, given a number, you just have to find if it's a prime or not. It's a very basic problem, and I'll try to cover how problem solving is really needed when you are trying to solve this specific problem. So see how you can build up is, like, first of all, defining what prime number is. So prime number is any number which is only divisible by 1 and itself, and there are no other natural numbers which can divide it. So this is the definition of prime number basically. An example would be 3 7 2 2 3 5 7 9, not 9, 11, 13, similarly 17, 19. These are some example of prime number. So the problem statement is that you will be given a number and you just need to find whether it is prime or not. So the very basic solution would be, the very basic solution will be that we do write up we do just check from, we start from 2 and check from start checking if any of the number from 2 to a number which is lesser than the number for which I am checking. So let's say I am checking for 6. I will go from 2 to 6 and check to see if any of those numbers does divide 7 or not. If not, then it is a prime number. And I guess, like, this is a pretty much working solution. And anyone any doubts on this one, like on this solution? Like, we'll just iterate or go from 2 to a number less than the number for which we are checking if it's a prime or not, and then then deciding if it's actually prime. Any issues in this solution? No. Okay. So now I'll tell you what what basically this solution of yours does is that it just starts from it just starts from uh, 2 and go up till that number. In that case, if the number is very huge, let's say the number for which you are checking has nearly 18 digits. In that case, your loop with which you will be iterating will be looping over each number possibly 10 raised to 18 times. So on a very high level, the number of processes or number of cycle that you will be repeating will be proportional to the number you chose. So in this case, which is like 10 raised to 18 times. And in general, like our modern CPU gives you 10 raised to nearly 10 raised to 8 cycles per second. Like you can do 10 raised to 8 operations in general per second, or yes, 10 raised to 8 on a higher side for our normal computers. Like basically, which one has the 4 GB one, 4 GB RAM and 2 core CPU, like those kind of computer. So if there are going to be 10 raised to if there are going to be 10 raised to 8 operations per second, and the number of operations which you are performing is going to be 10 raised to 16, then or 10 raised to 18, let's say, it is going to take nearly 10 raised to 10 seconds for your algorithm to complete, or in order for your algorithm to at least know if it's a prime number or not. Now when I say 10, and also okay, and when I say that your algorithm or whatever you like, this specific solution is going to take 10 raised to 10 second. If you are going to convert that in years, it is going to be possibly uh, at least a duration which is more than the duration of our life, average duration of our life. So that kind of solution is obviously not something we want, because if you're trying to check if some number is prime or not, and you just did a Google search, and Google search is taking nearly 60 years just to return you the result of that, that is something which we don't want. And in today's world, we are just moving towards a model wherein everything needs to be fast enough. So similarly, you can come up with a better solution to this problem, wherein like there's a better solution to this problem which runs in uh, uh, you know which runs in O of a square root n. And when I say O of a square root n, you just need to check till 10 raised to a number with 9 digits, and that will heavily impact your runtime. As in, from millions of years, it will bring down the runtime to possibly 10 seconds or so. You can look up the solution, but again, like the basic motto behind taking this example is that you can always improve upon your solutions in terms of time, and like how much time it takes and how much space does it need. If you are improving upon up on those lines or those parameters, that is the kind of skill which you know you will eventually end up, while when you are trying to do so, you will eventually end up having that problem solving skill in your bag, I would say. So just compare two algorithms, those both of which are finding prime number. One is taking 10 seconds to let you know if a number is prime or not, and other is taking nearly million of year. Obviously, the one which we are going to choose is the one which takes minimal time, which is 10 seconds. And you learn how to improve on time and space within kind of practice and number of problems that we solve ultimately. Okay. uh, how to get ready for the interview? Which year you are, Vishwas? The answer changes year to year. Vishwas, are you there? Yes. Which was is if you're speaking on mute. Can you just let us know in the chat box itself? He might be away. So now I'll try to explain why this problem solving is actually needed for your DS and what exactly do these team or do these company examine for or look for while trying to while trying to trying to give you these problem and then seeking solutions from it. The very first thing that they try to evaluate is that if you are first of all capable of thinking or not. There are a lot of people there are a lot of people which actually do not know how to think in terms of improving their algorithms or improving the solution which they have written. So in industry, when you join, it will always be needed that once you have given some solution, it doesn't matter what kind of solution that you give, you always give 2 to 3 solutions and you do compare those on the basis of different parameters such as cost, such as scalability. If that solution is going to handle the number of users that this application is expecting in next 20 or next 2 to 3 years or not. And there are a lot of other parameters. So while you are given these problems and you try to solve these, you always do start from the very ad hoc solution to these problems, and then you build up, optimize it on the basis of time and space. Now what it actually shows to interviewer is that you are always being self critique to your solution, and you do always want to improve upon your solution, which is highly needed when you are in an when you are on the job and you are solving some of their problems. The second thing which they try to evaluate while they give you this problem is that when you are solving these problems, you have to you have to communicate your thought process to the interviewer, and how you do it is speaking out loud. When you speak out loud, when you discuss your solution, see, it is not expected from you to just solve the problem. That does not suffice. What is expected from you is that you walk through the person who is interviewing you through the thought process which you are building up. So for in this example, given a number, when you have to find if it's a prime or not, you just tell him the very basic solution. He may ask you to he or she may ask you to code it or move ahead. But in that case, when you are thinking the solution, think out loud. Let them know what exactly you are thinking and why exactly that is needed is because when you will be solving problems on the job, you will be required to communicate it with team members or get it reviewed from team members. So if you are not good at that, then you are not a team player basically, and that is a very high demanded skill. You have to have that skill of thinking out loud and letting people know what exactly you are thinking whenever you are trying to solve a problem. The you know the third thing is, like, the very first one is that you are trying to improve upon your solution. The second one is that you are collaborative, you do work with team, and the third one is you know you do explain things in a manner wherein anyone because you are meeting an interviewer in an interview, you know for the first time. A lot, I would say maximum times it will happen that you are meeting with someone who's unfamiliar to you. You are still willing to talk to him, get insights about your thought process to him. And yes, that, like, these are three highly needed skills which are being sought from you, apart from the one that you are able to think through problems or think through solutions to the problem. Any tips for upcoming placement? What should be strategy? Uh, Whenever you are putting up your question, just let me know the year as well, because the answer will depend highly on the like the year you are, whether 2022 batch. Sure. So okay, for like my recommendation for you guys will be that you guys do solve more and more problems which are related to kind of interviews, I would say, and solving more and more problems on lead code and interview bit might help you guys. Don't jump to competitive programming for now. Park that aside. If you have been doing it, if you have not been doing it, still don't do it, because it won't make sense now. Solve more and more problems which are related to interview, specifically lead code and interview. These will pretty much help you.
Sir, sir, we got to know that in our first round there is question from competitive programming. Then how I crack that first round?
uh, Competitive programming, I'm not sure how to answer that question, because see, competitive programming is a sport wherein you are given problems to solve. So don't look problems with those lens, as in this problem belongs to competitive programming and this does not. Look at a problem only from a lens that it's a problem and it needs to be solved. And whenever you are going for interviews, for sure they are not going to ask you a very high end competitive program question which is being asked in competitive usual usual context of competitive programming. So if you have gone through div 2 of code forces, at max their problems in the first round will go to a level of a C level question. If there are 5 questions in a round of code forces, whatever level is there in the C is something which is which is which is the highest you will be ever asked in any of your interviews. Sometimes it may happen that a lot tougher questions may ask, but chances are very highly unlikely. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Anyone else from second year or first year who is confused on the path and they don't know what to do, please do build these skills. Skill of problem solving, it will only bring you more and more opportunities. That is something which I can for sure say. So the kind of opportunity that it brought from me, I will just a bit one of the my personal experiences. uh, there was a one company when we were in college. One company uh, arrived for pool campus. They were basically hiring from whole Kerala, I guess, wherein you know the very first round from the very first round, just 2 people got selected from our college. One was me and other one was some other guy from civil, I guess. When we went there, then in second round, the second round was supposed to happen for 3 hour 30 minutes to 4 hour. There were 3 problems to solve in that second round, and yes, that was pretty much expected. So I guess from all over Kerala, nearly 100 to 120 people came for that round. Now, when I sat for that round, I was able to solve all of their question in nearly 50 to 55 minutes. Along with, I gave them 2 to 3 algorithms or 2 to 3 solutions, commented out the bad ones, even though the the bad ones which I wrote were also passing all the test cases, and they were pretty much good on time and space complexity. But I still went ahead and gave them the better ones. Now I was the only guy which scored 100% in that test. This the guy who did made it, who had second rank, made it to nearly 70% or 65%. He scored 65% or 70%, and the cutoff was 28%. So the interview which followed that round was pretty much cakewalk for me. They did not they were not expecting me to know each and everything. They were okay with me not knowing a lot of core thing which they were asking. There were 4 to 5 things they were asking me. What are graph databases and all. I did not actually knew those, but they were pretty much okay. And the test spoke for itself. Like, I was the only guy, and every other uh, people who participated in that contest, who were shortlisted from the first round, took nearly like all of their time. They sat there for 3 to 4 hours, while I was able to complete their round in nearly 55 minutes or so. So that is the kind of difference which problem solving will obviously create for you, because it actually did for me. So don't lose out on that skill. That is something which I have been, like, when I was in first year. From then onwards, I do highly recommend people, whosoever is around me, to have this skill. Any other question, guys?
Sir, in that round, all the questions that you solved within 55 minutes, are you solved that question before, or that was your first
No,
time?
no, 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 no. Like, it was my first time solving those problems.
Uh,
It does not, see, problem solving gives you the very same skill. What benefit it has when you cannot solve new problems, and you just go through older problems, and once you have seen the pattern, then only you can solve it. That does no good. Keep solving more and more problems, uh, and the rest will follow. Salman, C++, for sure. C++, learn STL, take 1 or 2 days to learn STL, and then go ahead with solving more and more problems. So while you are solving problem, if you are not able to solve, just give nearly 1 day to solve that problem. If you are still unable to do it, just look what is the prerequisite for that problem. And if you don't know the prerequisite knowledge, go and gain some, do some problems on that. Let's say it's based on binary search trees, and you don't know what binary search trees are. Just take some time, read those, solve some basic problem of binary search tree, jump onto this problem where which you are not able to solve. Try solving that. When you are still not able to do so, go through editorial, make sense of it, try to implement that, whatever you read in editorial. If you are not able to do that as well, uh, just look through some solution. But don't leave any problem which is challenging in between. Solve that, implement that, basically. Another question? Do you remember any of those questions by any chance? Yes, I do remember one of those. It was, you know uh, backtrack, like, what I don't exactly recall the problem, but I know how I solved it. It was a mixture of backtracking, uh, dynamic programming, and graph data structure, dynamic programming, and backtracking. These 3 topics were involved in one of those questions, which I found really interesting, and which I was amazed when I solved that in such a short time. I myself did not expect that to happen. That really caused me to stand out in that crowd. When HR was explaining, they gathered us in a room and they were telling that what they thought was in initial 55 minutes, that problems must have been really easy. That's why one of the guy was able to solve 100% of it. When I told the HR that I am done with test, she was asking me again and again that are you sure that you have submitted all of the questions and you have done all of those questions, you have got all green takes. I told her that I have passed all the test cases and all. When they reached out in that room wherein they gathered us after the test, they were telling the very same thing that we thought that problem must have been too easy, but when they found out that just one guy solved it at the end of third hour, it was not the case. But they were really happy with the performance I had. So to answer your question, Bhaskar, basically dynamic programming, a bit of graph and a bit of backtracking. Any other question, guys? It was third or fourth year, not exactly. I'm not sure if fourth is there, but third year, if you guys do have anything related to placement. Second year, it's if you are bothered about how to get an internship, anything, because I'm done with whatever I wanted to tell you. I was, things are not opening up. Otherwise, I would have visited college once again. It is more interactive that way, and it at least helps me a lot because I can use a whiteboard and a marker to solve to actually show how to solve a problem, but that is not possible in these online meetings. So anything else, guys? First, second, third year, no questions. All right. Good then. I guess that is it for this session, guys. Anyone presenting Cusat clubs handle?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so if no one else is having any more questions, I think we can wind this up.
Sure.
So, thank you, sir, for spending the time with us. It was really good. Because I think it was a very informative session for us. Thank you so much for that.
No issues, yeah. No issues. I'm always up for these sessions, and myself try to visit college once as well. But let's hope for things to open up.
Yeah, like everyone is waiting for colleges to reopen actually now.
Obviously, yeah, that's a good experience.
Yeah.
Because you don't get college experience in offline classes, obviously.
Exactly. So, yeah, I guess that's it. So thank you everyone
Thank
for
you,
joining us
guys.
today. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye. Bye.